People say you see ghosts, Edwin stammered. I've been around too long. Perhaps that's why people say strange things about me, Francis laughed, waving his hand dismissively. So I'm the only freak in Kochi? Edwin felt like a deflated balloon. Why? Do you see them, Edwin? Francis leaned forward, stressing on each word. Edwin stared back in silence. You see them, don't you? Francis's eyes twinkled. At that moment, Edwin felt like he was looking into his grandmother's eyes. He didn't know what came over him, but he blurted it all out. How he had first seen the ghost on the beach, how it had caused trouble in school, and how it had followed him home. Oh, my. He does get up to mischief. He told you he was killed by Vasco da Gama. Poor fellow. Edwin blinked. Francis spoke as if he believed Edwin. Must have undergone unimaginable suffering. Maybe that's why he's chosen to live on as a ghost. There's always tragedy associated with them. You've got to feel sorry for him. What? Feel sorry for a poltergeist? Francis's brain had turned into boiled cabbage. Is he here now? Francis whispered. He was following me. Edwin glanced around warily. But he's not here now. What does this phantom look like? Edwin went on to describe the fisherman. Francis shook his head as if he were sifting old memories. Ah, never met that one, Francis said. Edwin gulped. So it's true, you do see ghosts? Oh, yes. They sit around my dinner table every night. Edwin blinked in shock. One ghost was bad enough. He couldn't imagine a room full of ghosts. How did Francis deal with so many? This land is full of ghosts, Edwin. I call them the ghosts of Malabar. Ghosts of Malabar? Edwin's eyes flitted over the shelves, wondering if there were ghosts in the shop. The thought made his skin crawl. What do these ghosts do? Mostly mind their own business. They hang around, chat with each other, then they leave. And no one else sees them? No, Francis shook his head gravely. At least no one in my house has mentioned it to me. Do these ghosts speak to you? Only if I pay attention. I've learned to tune them out. Edwin wished he could tune Belu out. Francis spoke as if it was the easiest thing to do. And you're not scared of them? Nothing to be scared of. Francis flicked his hand. I've been around them all my life. All his life? Did that mean Edwin would be stuck with this dreadful phantom forever? Look, this ghost can't harm you. At the most, he can move a few things from here to there, or hide things so that it takes you forever to find, or freeze you with his chilly breath. Yes, Edwin had seen Velu steal wallets and lunchboxes, and the ghost always brought a chill with him. But that didn't mean he had to put up with it. Don't worry. I was much younger than you when I saw my first ghost. And I am still around. Francis smiled, spreading his hands wide. Edwin eyed Francis dubiously. Perhaps it was because Francis was an old man that things didn't bother him anymore, like those lizards running wild in the store. Perhaps Francis was not remembering things correctly. You must have been scared when you saw your first ghost. Nah, I was only 7 when I met Kapiri. He was such a friendly fellow. He helped me find my way home. Ghosts get lonely, Edwin. Sometimes they just need company. A chill ran through Edwin's spine. He was aghast at the idea of giving company to any phantom. You don't believe me? Take Kapiri's example. He's the ghost of an African slave brought to Kochi by the Portuguese. His master was very cruel. His master owned 40 slaves, all of them from Africa. They had to do back-breaking work, build houses and roads. All they got was a dish of rice at noon and another one at night. Imagine that. Such a tough and lonely life. Toddy eats things, toddy and music. So, when we meet, we drink toddy together and we sing. Uncle Francis chuckled to himself. Uncle Francis was positively crazy to be drinking toddy with a ghost. Edwin wondered why he could not have met a friendly phantom like Kapiri instead of a bothersome spirit like the fisherman who had turned his life into a nightmare. A spirit that would do all his homework, bring him ice cream for dinner, make him taller and make Appan keep his promises would be super. Then why am I so unlucky? He said aloud. Why do I see a scary ghost? Perhaps it's because that's what you want to see, Uncle Francis shrugged. Some of them look scary but wouldn't harm a mosquito. The ghost of a mahout visits me sometimes. His elephant trampled him, smashing his face in and leaving him with broken bones. He looks terrifying, but he's a good chap. Then there's the Englishwoman who was murdered by her husband in 1873. She's pale as a sheet and walks around with a knife sticking in her heart. She never does any harm. If you see Kapiri, you would think him scary too. He has chains wrapped around his hands and feet, but he's a jolly fellow. So, Edwin, never judge a book by its cover. Instead, try and put yourself in their shoes. That's what I do. Edwin had no intention of putting himself in any ghost's shoes. I just want him gone.